You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it, you felt it.
The point is to understand who you really are. Humans are now hackable animals. To hack a human being means to understand that human better than he or she understands themselves. Facing enormous challenges, unprecedented challenges.
Welcome to the Spellbreakers Podcast, helping you transcend psyops, mental spells, and even reality itself, with your host, Donnie Spellbreaker.
Hey, Donnie Spellbreaker, how you doing?
I'm good, Johnny Canada. How you doing today?
Not so good, Donnie. You know, my rent went up another $2,000 a week. I can't feed my family, and I was sent to re-education camp for not eating bugs. Donnie, this really sucks.
Yeah, I hear you, Johnny. It's pretty brutal out there.
Yeah, but I think this new Pierre guy's gonna fix things around. What do you think, Donnie?
What do I think, Johnny? Not too much. Hey guys, this is your boy Donnie Spellbreaker with the Spellbreakers Podcast. Today I need to cover a bitter pill that a lot of Canadians, I believe, need to accept. It's a pill that has been very hard for me to swallow, and it took many years to really get there. But the general conclusion that I've come to after many rabbit holes is this. We live in a post-law slave colony in Canada. And what do you mean by post-law? Well, I mean, broadly speaking, that they don't follow the laws that we think we're under. They have their own set of laws. They can apply them whenever they want, however they want, or not apply them at all. What we call our charter rights is literally just a piece of paper that means almost nothing, that can be revoked, discarded, or just simply ignored at any time. We don't really have property rights because you can't build what you want on your land without permission. You have to pay a tax to the crown every year, and if you don't, they take your land back. We don't have self-defense rights because even if a violent offender breaks into your house and starts messing with your family, if you kill them, you could go to jail. The courts have even said that you don't even own your own children. You are just guardians of them. They're actually the property of the crown. Well, they didn't say this blatantly. Well, in Quebec they did, but we all kind of get the point of where things are going. All of our, quote, privileges of being Canadians can be revoked from us at any time, and not a single thing will ever change within the political system. Well, what do you mean? What about the PPC? Everybody says. To be totally honest, I love Maxime Bernier. I love what he's done for Canada. I will continue to support him, and I will support any other populist movement. But folks, we got to realize that Canada is a colony. Now, what is a colony? A colony is an outpost of the crown, set up to extract resources from a foreign landmass. And you happen to be on that landmass in their governmental system, and they think that you are their chattel property. Now, things have changed from the early colonial days. Yes, we have smartphones, we have woke political parties, we have Canadian Idol. But it doesn't change the fact that this system was set up as a crown corporation. Now, if you go down the free man on the land sovereign movement, which I have quite a bit, they make a lot of good points, one of which is the obvious that Canada is a foreign corporation that has no jurisdiction over you, the living man, but over its cattle property or citizens. Now, as a word of fair warning, every single freeman on the land I know has either been a scammer or has been thrown in jail for decades, so I don't recommend necessarily going down that path. If any of you have information of any one of those guys who have actually had successes, I would love to talk to them. I'm open-minded, but I'm very, very skeptical. But a few of the principles that they lay out are maxims in law. Namely, no person can enter into a contract one-sidedly, that in all areas of our life we do need to give our consent, whether implicit or explicit. I'm sure throughout our journey as citizens in Canada, we've probably signed somewhere on some dotted line that has given them at least the perceived power to do what they think they can do to us. And also, we give them our consent by going forward with total insanity day after day. But the truth remains, this entire system is propped up on the trust and willingness of the majority of the population to go along. So you might be saying, look, Donnie, things are bad, I know, but we're going to get Pierre in. And if Pierre doesn't work, we're going to get Maxime in eventually, one day. Well, for those of us who know, Pierre really doesn't represent us, right? He is Trudeau light. We all know it, no debate there, okay? If you guys are still on the Pierre train, just go follow somebody else, because I do not want to entertain that idea. Now, Maxime Bernier has a lot of great ideas. He has the platform that Canadians deserve, more or less. He has the right idea if we were actually free-thinking, self-governing people. But we're not. We are trapped in a crown colony corporation that we have been told from birth is us, is our system, that we are a member of the community. We can engage in civics and political discourse, and we can change the course of events. Well, let's break that spell a little bit today. So first of all, if you haven't noticed, the vast majority of policies that are enslaving you right now are due to things that aren't even passed by a legislator. I'm not even sure who does them. It's some nameless, faceless group or organization far away. Policies and procedures are set literally by a lawyer in an office somewhere that has been unelected. And that's the case for all of our laws. They pass laws and laws and laws every single day. And they're pushed out as de facto law by organizations that we didn't vote in and that we can never vote out. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they're literally written by somebody in a different country. And it doesn't matter because, folks, this is not our system. So what proof can I say that we live in a post-law slave colony? Well, for starters, none of them follow any of the laws. At least the laws we've been told exist. And then the odd time when they catch them, nothing even happens. Now, it would be one thing if we had a decent justice system that, even though imperfect, more or less delivers justice some of the time. But we don't. They literally throw out violent offenders same day now. The actual prosecution rate, if people can even get before a judge, is like 10% for violent crimes. And they get 3 to 6 months, and they're out. It's total insanity. We all know that this is not a system set up for us and by us. Literally all of the political parties for the last 3 decades or more, maybe since the inception of Canada, has literally been slowly dragging the population down through higher taxes, more regulations, inflation, money printing, debt. All of these things do not benefit us as Canadians. They benefit the system. And we didn't vote for any of this, and it's very clear that there's no way we can vote out. Now, I know it gives us a little bit of relief when we see people still supporting Trudeau to say, how can you support this? Next time, vote better. But let's keep it real. When Pierre gets in, he may pull the brakes 20%, but he's not going to stop mass immigration. He's not going to stop money printing. He's not going to stop skyrocketing debt or the woke agenda, because he just won't, and he can't, because it is not our system. No matter how much Canadians beg for it and want it, they won't do it. We all know that all 338 politicians are corrupt and should see some form of justice, or at least be removed from their post, but it will never happen. Why? Because it's not our system. The two parties that basically work together select their candidates. If you're based, you can't become a Canadian politician, maybe in some rural districts. They pretend the PPC party doesn't even exist, and I guarantee you if they had any type of political power, Max would get Epsteined or something. So I know this is a very hard thing to accept, right? I've been trained since birth. I am proud to be a Canadian. I am not proud of our government. I'm proud of the people who inhabit a piece of land that we collectively call Canada. Most of you guys are wonderful. Since I've moved to Alberta, man, I've never been more stoked to be a, quote, Canadian. These people are hardworking farm folk, raising families. They're productive, they're honest, they're loyal. They'll help you in a bind. They're ethical. This is the society that we need to cultivate. And this is, to me, what the dream of Canada really is. Good, hardworking people able to create their own destiny with the blessings of all of the abundant resources we have around, with as limited interference as possible. But it is not to be a crown colony of a foreign corporation. It's ridiculous, guys. So, basically what they've done is they hoodwinked us into thinking, okay, Canada, this foreign corporation, that is your system. And so you should spend all of your time, energy fighting at people online to talk about who the best outpost manager is to manage your colony. Does the water taste funny? Is the food a little stale? Well, let us know, and maybe we can change things for you. The difference between Trudeau and Pierre, at best, maybe Pierre will pull the reins about 20%. And that's just a fact. And Maxime Bernier, I love the guy. I love his policies. I don't think he'll be able to get into office because they won't let him. It's not our system, folks. They cannot let somebody like Maxime in there. Now, I don't think they should stop us from promoting Maxime, supporting Maxime, but what we need is a populist movement. We need to all be Maximes that seek solutions outside of the current system. Now, if we as Canadians wake up and are honest with ourselves, look at yourself in the mirror and say, has any petition ever solved anything? Has any politician ever solved anything? I've been complaining and protesting for 4 years online. Has that ever changed anything? My answer is no. If it's working for you, please go ahead and do it. I don't want to stop anybody from doing anything they think is right or dutiful. But it's pretty obvious to me, after years of being in these activist circles and signing all these petitions and sending the Governor General an email to stop Trudeau, all of this stuff is just an endless rabbit hole. It's like a little sandbox that we've been placed in as little toddlers. Hey, come in here, fight amongst each other. It's ridiculous, and honestly, it's really demeaning. It's demeaning to put our energy into a system that does not in any way represent us and is becoming blatantly unhuman or anti-human. And I really don't think there's anything that we can do about it within the political system. Now, if you want to spend the next 4 years just retweeting posts about how much of an idiot Trudeau is, or how Pierre sucks, or how Pierre's going to save us, that's fine. I don't care. But just be honest with yourself. It's not doing anything. I know it gives us a sense of relief, especially when we can connect with other people who see the insanity. But folks, it's a trap. It's a dead end. It will never change. So what can we do? Well, honestly, I don't have an easy answer to that, but I know basic math. We have tens of millions of good Canadians, hardworking, family-oriented people who are the foundations of our society. They are, and you are, the reason why our lights turn on, the reason why we have food in our bellies, the reason why we have roads and infrastructure. We did it. They didn't do it. We basically have an administrative parasitical class that's been growing and growing and growing, capturing our labor. And I don't mean to sound like a communist or something. I absolutely hate communism, but you guys see what I'm trying to say here. We have the foundations to build a really incredible nation. Canada as a landmass has some of the most insane amounts of natural resources imaginable. I believe in Alberta alone, it's something like over $10 trillion in just oil and diamonds. #separate. And our, quote, oppressors are literally just, 200,000 or 300,000 lazy bureaucrats who literally have no idea what's going on in this country. It's a total joke. If we combine tens of millions of hardworking Canadians, or even 5 million hardworking Canadians that organize, plus the most blessed natural resources almost anywhere in the world, plus a little bit of hard work, guys, we really can create the Canada we all know that we need. And I firmly believe that. Now, I don't want to pretend like this is an easy solution, but what I do know is that the system always needs us more than we need them. Their spell that they cast upon us is thinking the opposite, to think that we're lowly subjects of them, the high crown or authority. It's total bullshit. So I'm open for ideas, but I do know that if you have tens of millions of people in a landmass, we can organize and build our own system. The system only exists by the consent of the masses, so wherever possible, we need to withdraw that consent. They really have shown their hand and shown that the systems they are building for us are anti-human and 100% against our best interest. I really hope this can align people on both the left and the right, because guys, it's a trap as well. It's a narrow framework in which we are set to fight each other over. Yes, I identify as conservative or right-wing, but what does that even mean anymore? Where on the left and right spectrum does a digital ID slave colony line up? I don't know. I know almost nobody that will want it, but that's the track we're down if we don't bind together and start doing something new. So I don't know. I'd love to hear your ideas, but some of the ideas I have to start are become as self-sufficient as possible and off of the system. For example, the money. As much as we cannot use their money, that will be helpful. So wherever possible, if you can barter or trade, that helps. All of the truthers, if we just gathered together in Canada and just organized a labor share and a skill share in different locations, that would go a long way. The main levers that we know that they're going to pull if we don't go along with the next thing is energy, heat and hydro, food, education, and healthcare. Well, there's good news. The healthcare system is already almost dead. So we're pretty much up to ourselves to basically become de facto doctors. Look to people in alternative healing modalities. Yeah, there's a lot of woo-woo, but things like fasting have done a lot for me, and there's a lot of options out there. In terms of education, wherever possible, educate yourself and your children. Take them out of these crazy schools until they can be trusted, and some of them can. There's a lot of great public school districts, especially here in Alberta. But literally 5 parents could literally start a de facto homeschool and share the burden of homeschooling. There's the solution there. For energy, it's tough. I live off-grid. I know it's not ideal for everybody, but if you can put a fireplace in your house, that's great. I've been recently looking up turning used oil into diesel. And again, this isn't for everybody, but there are solutions that are out there. Right? For food, it's very easy to grow your own food. And if you can't, then reach out to farmers who can. They're all around you. Literally just search and become friends with them. Work out in a longer-term agreement. We do have the foundations to support each other and to build a community off of a lot of these systems. We just have to get creative and more importantly, believe that we can do it. These are just a couple ideas I have. I don't pretend to know all the answers, but I know that solutions are out there. So spend at least half of the time you do bitching online about the current politician or swooning over the next politician you think will save us, to organize, to become self-sufficient, to become a member of the community, and to create groups. Crowdshare, crowdfund, work together, build communal gardens, do whatever you can to be self-sufficient. That spirit is what helped the initial colonists build our country. And in the future, maybe we can build something new for ourselves instead of for the crown. Now we're in a state of perpetual hypnosis where we sit around looking at screens thinking that the guy on the screen is going to save us from our problems. They're not. They never will. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it planted some seeds and will lead to great things. together we can do a lot. We've just been told that we can't. I love you.